this is a massive story. It's touching every single company and particularly every single industry that we cover across three brands. There is no shortage of angles to this story. So, the actual editorial direction I don't think is really that difficult because, we put ourselves ideally at the center of these industries. And, we do a lot of like connectivity when it comes to, our event side of the business, which unfortunately is on pause. But we also, connect people with the information they need to do their jobs better. And in a time of massive uncertainty, that role becomes even more important. So that's, good in a way. I would use quotes maybe around it. But I think the biggest challenge really is how do you lead an organization? And this is something that everyone is dealing with and we're going to focus more on in a time of tremendous uncertainty and dislocation because, we have to continue on as a business, as an editorial organization. At the same time, people's, lives are completely disrupted. They're trapped in apartments or, most of us, have concerns about relatives who are older or more vulnerable or work in the healthcare industry on the front lines. So you have to be really cognizant of that, So I think in some ways the sort of editorial agenda stuff is the easy stuff, but really keeping a group together and particularly when they're dispersed. And also, people who don't have necessarily the experience of having gone through a really sharp and drastic dislocation like this on an economic front. I think this is unique in a lot of ways, but, we've been through, the post 9/11.com bust and the financial crisis and some others haven't. And so it's new and it's shocking. Obviously, a lot of categories have just paused their advertising. They need to figure out their messaging and how to come back. There are categories that are clearly going to be more resilient. We have a story actually coming out tomorrow by Laura O'Reilly about auto spending. Auto spending is holding up. It looks like it should hold up in many ways because interest rates have dropped to about zero. And so it really is going to be a good time to buy a car once you can go out and buy a car. But because of the long lead cycles for auto shopping, there is a great case to be made for auto companies to be out there stoking demand. I think in a lot of categories, there's simply no demand to stoke. And that's why you see companies turning to messaging around what they're doing to deal with coronavirus. I think one of the more interesting aspects of this, and maybe this doesn't really is only secondary to the ad aspect, is companies need to figure out what they can do to help during this time. That's the thing that will stick, not all this tactical stuff about whether they put on ads and stuff like this. When you see companies like LVMH reorienting their supply chain to make hand sanitizer, you see people changing their supply chain in order to make ventilators or to make masks and gowns. That is the kind of stuff that not only will it contribute to solving this problem, but it's actions and it's not words, right? And I think a lot of advertising gets caught up in what the right words are, when really what's needed is what the right actions are. So that's what I know I'm looking for. I think a lot of people I've talked to go back to what Hyundai did during the aftermath of the financial crisis, where they basically came out with not just like a slogan or a campaign that had some clever line, but they came out with a program that allowed people to defer their car payments because they said, "Hey, we get it. We're in this."